Okay, quickly. I work for United Helpers. We started out as an orphanage, and we've been around for 115 years, mostly providing community services to folks in St. Lawrence County. We've evolved over the last 115 years, and we provide an array of services throughout the county. We employ over 950 people, and we have just started to look at some new opportunities and some other ways in where we can support our community. Jim mentioned this in his earlier, but locally owned businesses generate 3 times the economic activity of an absent-owned business. That really got me thinking. I learned that here at the Symposium. I've read Schumann's books. We all know about the decades of rural economic decline, and we all know that, it's important that we have jobs. Actually, and I just want to point out one quick thing. Jim also mentioned this whole aspect of money escaping our community based on the way the economy has evolved over the last few decades. It really is robbery in some sense. I love this quote. We talk about it a lot in our leadership group. It does not require a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority keen to set brush fires in people's minds. Which brought us to the formation of Sparx, Sparx Light Fires. About 4 years ago, every year, let me back up quickly, every year the Society of the United Helpers has an annual meeting in November. At that meeting, we give a State of the Union, we talk about our priorities for the next year, we talk about long-range and short-range goals, et cetera, et cetera. But at that meeting, I had a lot of these concepts on the board for folks to talk about. With the whole society, because I was looking for their support, everything from, the idea of revitalizing Main Street, drive through our communities and see what's going on. The idea that we've always been a not-for-profit, but maybe we should start looking at for-profit ideas. The idea of thinking regionally. The idea that maybe we could be a catalyst, given our, resources, maybe we could do more to help our community. The idea that it was going to take money. If we committed to this, it was going to take money. And I can assure you that our endowment is not $39 billion. I started talking about capitalism with a soul, thinking entrepreneurially, but, doing it with everybody's best interest in mind, not just making money at the end of the day. We talked about embracing risk. It's important, none of these things are a given. Speaking for our organization, we started getting into the Medicaid and Medicare monies, and it's not that way today, but it was really you sent in your bill, you got your money. Those days are over. So, we're embracing risk in our own end, and I said to the society, we have to think about taking some risk. We talked about local ownership. We talked about sophistication. A lot of what we need to do involves a level of sophistication. You have to understand what's going on. You have to understand how to successfully succeed. And then we talked a lot about partnerships. In 115 years, up until the last few years, I don't think we had any what I would call true partnerships. And we really had to start thinking that way, because I think with partnerships come better sophistication. Some people know things that you don't, you know things that they don't, and together in those synergies, you maybe evolve to another level. So they supported forming Sparx. It was quite a commitment for our organization. We bought a building on Main Street in Canton, the old community bank building. The The society, the endowment supported that and lent money to the Sparx Corporation to renovate that building. And since we formed Sparx, which has only been a couple of years, we have started two major partnerships. One is the Northern Lights Healthcare Partnership. It's the first time that Canton Potsdam Hospital, Claxton Hepburn Hospital, Hospice, and United Helpers came together, formed a new corporation, and are working on the Certified Home Health program right now. And I'm confident that that's going to be successful, and I'm confident it's going to end up sparking new ideas and new innovations. And then I'll talk about the Food Hub here quickly. These little icons down here, I think that it's important. I talked about risk. We need to think like fat cats. We need to think like investment bankers. We need to think about investing, and we need to figure out ways to come together through partnerships to bring capital together to do the things we need to do. We need to come up with ideas. We need to get together, and we need to have new and innovative ideas and not keep reshaping the old tired ones that we've had. And I think that we need to not think about hitting home runs all the time and think about hitting singles and doubles. Because I think to some degree that's what we've done. In our desperation, we've tried to hit home runs, when in fact I think you win games with singles and doubles and triples. Okay, the Food Hub. You probably can't read this. I'm having a hard time from here, but I'm transitioning with my glasses. But I love to read those little pamphlets or little books that were put out and you get at the Historical Society about the history and the economies of the North Country. They're really neat books, and I have a stack of them beside my bed, and I plow through them every now and then when I'm ending one book and starting another. But the reason I put these up here is I'm trying to look at which one's which, but there's one of these is a women's lingerie factory and garment factory. But the thing that really struck me was 20 investors came together to start that company. 20 North Country investors. That's quite a partnership. That's impressive. And that really got me thinking. And the other one was a tin factory, I think they're vice versa here, but who had 5 or 6 different patents that this gentleman had done. Here in the North Country, many, many decades ago, we're creating and pumping out patents on a regular basis. So, my point with leading up to the Food Hub is that we can do more if we get together and we start thinking together and we start partnering with what I would refer to as real partnerships, not just coming together and chatting and having lunch, but really getting serious about partnerships. So with that said, I'll give you an update on the Food Hub. First of all, if you go to the USDA website, there is some really good information on food hubs and definitions, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just going to give you some defining characteristics of a regional food hub, because people have different things in their mind, and I think none of the ones that we visited are exactly alike. Carries out or coordinates the aggregation, distribution, and marketing of primarily locally, regionally produced foods from multiple producers to multiple markets. Considers producers as valued business partners, works closely with producers, uses product differentiation strategies to ensure that producers get a good price for their products, and aims to be financially viable while also having positive economic, social, and environmental impacts within their communities. So, where we're at with the North Country Regional Food Hub. I've been talking about partnerships. We actually formed a separate corporation with North Country Pastured. So now United Helpers Sparx and North Country Pastured have their own, a separate corporation, and we each have 50% control in this new company. We did a CFA, Consolidated Fiscal Application. We were successful. We didn't get what we asked for, but we still don't exactly know what we are going to get. We've been told 350,000, but we've been having conversations with folks, and it may be more. So we're waiting because we don't have our approval letter. When we did that application, we had several other organizations that we refer to as collaborators as we put that together. The Northern Grown Food Co-op, Cornell Cooperative Extension, Garden Share, and we talked to a lot of other people while we did that. But so now we have a corporation to start this off. The Society of the United Helpers has contributed money to this endeavor, and we have put together our operating budget, and we're ready once we know how much money we have, because that affects the scope of our project greatly. If we get 350, we've already downscaled the scope from what we originally asked for because we knew what we were going to get for monies. So if we get more, we're going to have to tweak that a little bit. And we are talking with a lot of different people about a location and what would be the best location, at least to get things off and running. The North Country Pastured folks have a mobile processing chicken machine. We call it we call it the, I'm trying to think of what Ellen Rocco calls it. What's that? Abattoir? No, she calls it something else, and it's not coming to me. The chicken mobile, I think, is what she calls it. It's just so I get those things stuck in my head. Also, we are looking at the possibility of other processing because we think meat is one of those locally grown things that would make sense to kind of solidify the revenue stream because, we have to make this work. We have to make this work financially. So with that said, that's where we're at. We're ready to take off. We have our corporation set. We have a meeting next week to go through the bylaws. And as soon as we know what we're getting for monies, we're going to get back together and have reconvene another meeting before we go to the next step. So there's a lot of people on that list that we'll be talking to. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. So there's, another fabulous example of collecting our assets, putting them together in partnership, in this case, in the agricultural sector, and trying to combine our production and reach multiple markets with it. So thanks, Steve. So we've had a chance to look at our regional development updates here. What we're going to do at this point is take a break. If you have questions about any of these endeavors, please grab the folks who are speaking here and find out what you want to know. So we have refreshments available, and we'll reconvene in 10-15 minutes. Thank you.